Hey, what's up? And welcome to the Drama Club. On this week's episode, we talk about Jay-Z making a deal with the NFL, Sean Spicer dancing with the stars, and then May tells the story of Sonny and Claus von Bülow. Stay tuned.
What up, fam? It's good, y'all. Feels good, right? Yeah, I know it do. And without further ado, we broadcasting live from CA to NY.
What the hell?
I want to respond.
Me too. I just want to be like, she's a bitch. Bye.
I want to respond because, it's. I feel like if we would have been using bitch derogatorily, like we wouldn't have said bitch. We would have said like asshole or something.
Yeah, we would have been like, yeah, or like, yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, I'm a bitch. I'm fucking. Shannen Doherty's a bitch, and Shannen Doherty knows she's a bitch.
She's a fucking bitch. You see how many gifs I've posted on Twitter of her calling herself?
Yeah, where
bitch?
she just. Yeah. She is a self-proclaimed bitch. She's such a bitch. All of her characters are bitches.
Yeah. Duh. Do 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 Hey, did you see the trailer for the new E True Hollywood Story, Doe?
No, because they're bringing it back, right?
Yeah. They dropped
No.
they dropped the first trailer, and it's everything you want it to be. It's just an updated version of that. And
Who's it gonna be on?
I want to say the first one is like on Kardashians,
Oh, okay.
obviously.
Oh, actually, I think somebody just sent us this on Instagram.
Oh,
and
really?
I was like, what is this?
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be on that show. We need to be with some of the talking heads.
I know, what the fuck? This is bullshit.
We're just as qualified as all the other people they have talking about shit.
That's true though.
Which is, you don't need to be qualified at all.
No, you just have to have like ears and eyes and a mouth.
You just have to have the chisme. Oh, someone left us a review, I think today, and her name is Melina, and she left us an amazing review, and she said she's absolutely madly in love with this bochinche.
Oh.
Thank you, Melina. Anyway, she also said that she's late, but she hopes that we're doing live shows because she wants to be there.
Oh man, it would be like her and 3 other people.
She said, "Take my money."
Oh, that's so cute.
Very sweet.
That's really sweet. Thank you, Melina. That's a dope ass name.
It is.
I brought cocoa candy from Peru,
Mm-hmm.
and like it out there, it's like, oh, it helps you with the elevation,
Mm-hmm.
but it's cocaine. It's caffeine, right? Like it kind of gets you. It's like a cup of coffee.
Does it
But
taste
my
good?
mom, no,
Mm.
they have like caramel on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But like the outside is nasty. But my mom is like all hyped and she likes them.
Hey.
And she was like, ya me hice drogadicta. It's like, you and me both, mommy.
Your mom is the mom from Requiem for a Dream now.
Yeah, she's all coked out watching those infomercials. All right.
Back to the podcast.
Okay, so you want to talk about Jay-Z and Spicy?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right. So this week, Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's company, founded. Is he still like super owner of Rock Nation or no?
Yeah, I think
he is,
I think
right?
he's a majority owner.
Okay, so the NFL announced a partnership with Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's company. And as part of the deal, Rock Nation is going to be the one to produce the musical performances at major NFL events like the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And they threw in also, quote, amplify the league's social justice efforts.
Which
So
is
then-
not saying a whole lot, considering that the NFL is the least woke of any major sports organization.
The NFL is like, ooh.
That's so problematic.
It's like the Republican Party
of sports. Yeah, they're the Republican Party of sports.
They're so bad. There's so many problems there. From the people involved to what they represent,
Yeah.
like everything about. Even when they try to do good, it always comes out like bad.
So why would Jay-Z want to get in bed with these people?
So what the backlash everybody obviously is saying is that Jay-Z is just, here to make his money, and he doesn't give a fuck about the black community or social justice at all, because he's, exactly like May said, getting into bed with the worst of the worst, and people that other black celebrities, Colin Kaepernick, have been standing or kneeling
Yeah.
against, So everybody's like, what the fuck, bro? You're just doing it for your brand? Like, you're just doing it to get money? Like, we thought you were better than this, basically.
But he's told you himself, he's a businessman. I honestly, I'm not shocked, but I just don't like it because he and Beyonce have made this pivot in recent years to social activism, whereas when Jay-Z was young, obviously it was all about the money, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it still is, but you can't have it both ways.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't like that.
Yeah, it definitely looks hypocritical, and it just doesn't look good at all. People are also thinking, like, can you, like, expand on this, like, broad statement that you're making, right? Like, you're just like, yeah, we're gonna help with social justice. Sounds fucking great, bro, but how?
Yeah.
Like,
Houseway.
And they kept saying, like, oh, more details will follow, but then nothing has fucking followed. Meanwhile, Colin hasn't had a job in the NFL basically since he started kneeling during the national anthem. And he was super good, right? Joel was telling me this. Sorry, I don't know anything about football, but
yeah,
Joel was telling me he was, like, fucking really good. Like, he was starting to slow down when he did kneel, but he still would have definitely been at least employed.
He would 1000%, like, without a doubt, anyone will tell you this. He would have had a job right now.
Yeah, because he was so good before, right?
Right, because there are second string quarterbacks who are employed by the NFL right now that are trash, like like garbage compared to Colin Kaepernick, who could, if he for whatever reason wasn't the main go-to quarterback on a team,
right,
maybe he had a 50-50 shot at being that, but he 100% would have been the relief quarterback.
Right. So on the other side of this, I have seen some people say, is the NFL, like, what would have been okay? Like, is working with the NFL gonna be off limits forever for every black person in America? Like, no, right? That seems silly. Also, how about Colin himself making a deal with Nike, kind of piggybacking off of his social justice efforts to make $1, like, he got paid for that. And, like, why were we okay with that, but now we're not okay with this? And also, why can't we just give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he has planned before just, like, jumping to criticize him?
Because
that's the other side of the argument.
Does Jay-Z deserve the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, does he? Yeah, does he?
It would have been another thing if he would have had this long storied history of social activism, but no, we hear about them as a couple doing things every now and then, but this isn't.
And I do like how a lot of the things is always, like, kind of like on the low, like, oh, they paid the legal fees for this family, or they paid the expenses for this family, or they did this, and it just kind of come, like, they're not advertising it. It just kind of comes out through the grapevine or whatever.
But I don't necessarily think that he deserves the benefit of the doubt in this situation. I think that, tell us what your plan is. Tell us what it is.
Yeah.
I think
the public deserves to know. It's because those are, like, the things that we do hear about them are such low level, and the NFL is, like, fucking gigantic, right? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, definitely need to follow up to this announcement, my dude.
I think he's banking on the fact that people love to, like, get their pitchforks out for 5 minutes and then you burn out and you forget about it.
Yeah,
and I think that
the nature of the internet now.
I think in a year or 2 years, when we start actually seeing the fruits of Jay-Z's involvement with the NFL, and I'm not talking about social justice, I'm just talking about the money and the actual performances and whatever, I think that people will, in all likelihood, have forgotten that they're not, that, this might not be, he might not be coming from the best place.
Right.
And also,
like, money is, like, definitely the driving factor here. Like, let's not pretend like it's anything else. And that's where I think people feel like a slap in the face, because he's trying to pretend like it has something more to do than what it does. Which, honestly, like, it does, like, this is a smart thing for the NFL. Should have been like what is that called when you give it to a third party, letting a third party administer its entertainment production,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the halftime thing is huge, and like
Mm-hmm.
that is a really important part of their brand or whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah.
So it is a smart move, like in terms of what they're trying to do, but
Mm-hmm.
wrong time. Maybe should have been done 10 years ago.
And like you're saying, it's not like the Black community should necessarily boycott the NFL forever or indefinitely.
Right. How many players are Black, you know?
The majority, which is one of the
Yeah.
biggest problems here.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, like what would it take for the NFL to start turning things around? But that's the thing. In order for this deal to be okay, in my mind, we would have had to have seen something from the NFL internally first. You know,
He should have negotiated this deal and negotiated Colin a fucking contract and announced it at the same fucking time with Colin. Then
Yeah.
people wouldn't have been mad. And that's the other thing too, is like Colin hasn't said anything about it, right? Like he's been quiet.
From what I heard that he said something shady, like not
Oh,
necessarily,
he did.
yeah, not necessarily anything explicitly about this, but that some people have been interpreting as
Like he's throwing shade.
uh-huh.
Good, he should. That's bullshit. He literally gave up his career
Mm-hmm.
to stand up for what he thought was an injustice, you know?
For instance, if Colin Kaepernick would have made this deal,
Kaepernick.
I would have been like, okay.
Okay.
I would give him the benefit of the doubt, you know?
If you're giving anybody the benefit of a doubt, give Colin the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You know, he literally, that's why I loved the Nike commercial, because that's exactly how I see what he did. Like, what is the slogan? Stand up for what you believe in,
Yeah.
even if it means risking it all or whatever.
Right.
That's literally what he did.
Mm-hmm. And he really is putting his money where his mouth is. Like even with the Nike, the money that he's receiving from Nike, all I hear about is how he's using the money here and there and fucking everywhere to help lots of people, lots of impoverished and underserved communities. So honestly, good for him, man.
No, yeah, for sure. That's definitely a social justice warrior right there.
Speaking of social justice warriors, did you hear about Sean Spicer?
Oh, God.
This motherfucker is, we're putting Nazis on Dancing with the Stars.
Have we ever had a I was going to look this up too before we talked about this. Has there ever been like a former politician on Dancing with the Stars?
Yes.
Oh, there has been?
Yeah. The one that comes to mind, the first one that comes to mind is Rick Perry,
Oh, okay.
who was gloriously and hilariously bad on it. But I'm almost positive there have been other people.
Rick Perry?
Yeah.
Who the fuck wants to see that full dance?
Who wants to see Rick Perry do anything, really?
That's true though. Here's Rick Perry putting on his socks. Fuck you, Rick Perry.
Rick Perry, our politician whose most famous quote is, "Whoops."
That's a good one. Hey, that's a good quote right there. My most famous quote is going to be, "Oh my God, man." So, whoops is pretty solid.
Whoops. Put that on his tombstone.
Former White House press secretary Sean Spicer is going to be on the next season of Dancing with the Stars. I can't believe it.
We can't be normalizing these people. Shouldn't just be allowed to go back to like their regular jobs like nothing happened, like we don't remember it.
What's funny to me is that he had that little cameo, remember when
On the Emmys or
yes,
something like that.
And everybody was pissed.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, let's not normalize this behavior, this or this type of person, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with, like, remember when Trump was on Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy kind of like messed around with him? They were like, no, like you promote these people basically. That's why they get so big.
Yeah, for real.
So we don't want to be out here supporting these motherfuckers. And even after that, they fucking cast him. What do they think was going to happen?
I think they're thriving off of the publicity.
Yeah.
I think that they figured absolute worst case scenario, everyone loses their minds and we have to kick him off the show. That's still going to be hella attention for the show.
Yeah, that's true. A show that's been going on for fucking ever and
Yeah.
needs attention. But then the other super disappointing thing with all of this was Karamo Brown.
Oh, I'm not shocked though. He's
You're
problematic.
not? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I just saw that he deleted his Twitter because he basically said, what did he fucking say? He defended Sean Spicer being on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, out of nowhere, the reporter, it was like a red carpet thing for Dancing with the Stars for the announcement of who was going to be on it. And the reporter just asked him, like, oh, who's going to be your biggest competition? And out of nowhere, just completely unprompted, aside from the biggest competition thing, because he ended up saying, I'm my own biggest competition or some shit. Anyway,
Okay.
he said,
Carmelo Anthony. I would like to thank myself.
he said something along the lines of, you'd be surprised how much fun I'm having with Sean Spicer, though. And it's amazing how things can happen when you just meet people in the middle. Hello, there are children in cages. Don't meet these people in the middle. You know, why would Karamo just unprompted just decide to do that
He's
shit?
stupid.
He's stupid on the level where he thinks he's very kumbaya, which
Yeah,
I
that's true.
understand that impulse, but that's not what we need right now, and it's not helping.
No, definitely. Yeah. We can't be like that with them because they're not fucking like that with us.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's too much
that's-
on the line now.
Yeah.
Maybe
And that's a lot of our problem. It's
Yes.
like we don't stand up to them. We don't fight the way that they fucking fight. And we need to because look what's fucking happening.
right. It's not a matter of you know, with previous generations it might have been just a difference in ideology, but now the consequences are grave. There are people dying, you know. It's not a fucking there's no time for kumbaya right now.
No, hell no. We ain't gonna, and nobody's gonna share a fucking Coke.
Right?
I'm gonna tell, I would never share a Coke with Sean Spicer.
Oh, hell no. I might share a Pepsi with him because I don't really fuck with Pepsi. So you can have it.
Don't
my dude.
nobody
You
fuck
want
with
this Pepsi? And when I do drink a Coke, I'm only drinking Mexican Coke. So I'm sure as shit not giving Sean Spicer my Mexican Coke.
Dude, I don't drink soda usually, but today we had a stupid office meeting and they brought a bunch of soda and they got like these flavored Diet Cokes.
Oh, I seen
and
those.
It was pretty bomb. That shit slapped, dude.
What flavor did you get? Because I saw that there was like an acai, and I was like, would anyone want to drink that? That did not sound good to me.
No, I got I had cherry flavored Diet Coke. It was fucking bomb.
And
there was also a blood orange flavored.
That was another one where I was like, I don't know if I want to drink that.
The acai one is blueberry acai. Anyways, what were you gonna say?
Well, that I don't drink soda, but I do like soda. So when I do,
yeah, me too.
When
Who the fuck doesn't like soda? Come on, it's just sugar.
So when I do want a soda, is like I'm craving like a fucking crispy Coke. You know, I just want just like a
cold Coke, right?
Cold Coke.
With
I don't
the
know
bubbles
if yes.
all up in your nose and shit.
I don't think I don't want to waste my 2 sodas a year on like a fucking
Fanta?
blood orange Coke. But
Yeah.
you're saying it's good?
I had the Diet Cherry Coke and that shit was bomb. It slapped.
And it's diet?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Which means it's extra bad for you because it's a bunch of fake shit.
I had a Diet Coke like once when I was a kid, and like that
15 years ago.
That flavor stayed with me forever, and that I've always in my mind I'm like, Diet Coke is fucking gross. But the other day I was feeling like a little bit like my blood sugar was going down, so I was like and somebody had given me a Diet Coke that I threw in the refrigerator like a year ago, and I was like, I'm going to drink that Coke. So I drank the Diet Coke, and that shit was actually, it tastes just like regular Coke.
Yeah, they've definitely upped their science.
We've improved the fake ass sugar technology.
Yeah, they've taken the calories out of real sugar, thrown that shit into Diet Coke.
We put a man on the moon. I'm glad we've improved the Coke technology.
Right?
Is Coke what's your favorite soda?
I mean, I want to say, like, off the dome, I want to say, I don't drink soda enough. Because I know, like, I really like Cactus Cooler.
That shit slaps.
That's like a kind of like a Southern California type vibe.
Mm-hmm. Remember that drink from Yard House, Cactus Cooler?
Oh, man. That's a throwback. We used to get fucked. On my 21st birthday, I threw up in the bathroom at the Yard House in Riverside, California. After taking Cactus Cooler shots with me.
I also like Dr. Pepper.
Oh, Dr. Pepper's good, dude. Like, it's not a flavor I remember, but I know when I have it, I'm like, oh, shit.
That shit slaps.
Yeah. All right.
This is the Root Beer Podcast.
Tell us what your favorite sodas are. 505 539 0556.
So anyway, welcome to the Drama Club. My name is May.
And my name is Stephanie.
This is the podcast all about celebrity scandals, gossip,
reality TV, movies, music, and more.
Social justice, sodas.
The NFL, athletes. Mm-hmm. Sorry, man. Can you see my chonies? I'm Winnie the Poohing it.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's comfort time.
I would like to buy a shirt that's long enough for me to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're going to have to buy a nightgown.
One of those, like, Scrooge McDuck would wear or whatever. Just one of those
that
long
comes with, like, one of those pointy hats.
One of those hats, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. And then, like,
that
a little dish with a candle.
To light my house.
From this day forward, to have and to hold. Oh, Pete, we're going to be so happy together.
All right, you're up, May. You're up this week.
Yeah, I like mine this week.
Ooh.
So I think this is the first time I'm doing one that I'd absolutely never heard of until now.
Ooh.
But I saw a movie the other day called Reversal of Fortune. And I'd never seen or heard of that movie before, and the story is nuts. So just trust me on this one because it's interesting. So I just watched Fatal Attraction. And
that's a bop.
That shit is a bop. And
that is such a bop.
And Glenn Close was on my mind. You know, like, obviously, where's her Oscar? Anyway. So a couple of days later, I saw that this movie, Reversal of Fortune, was on and she was in it. So I stopped to read the description and it was wild. And it turns out that it was a true story. So I was shook. And immediately I knew that I had to do my next story on this. So this is the story of Shannen von Bülow.
Okay.
So that movie turned out to be pretty good. So if you like the story I'm going to tell, totally go watch it. Glenn Close plays Sunny. I also consulted Wikipedia and the documentary A Wealth of Evidence, which is a great title, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have no idea what this is about.
I'm telling you, dude, this is...
Shannen von what?
Von Bülow.
Okay. Oh, Bülow. I had a friend who had that last name.
But the U is, I don't know what those U's are called with the... Is it umlaut?
The dots on top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you know she's fancy.
Yeah, that's fucking fancy.
So... Martha von Bülow, or Sunny, was an heiress who was born on September 1st, 1932. Happy almost birthday to Sunny. Her father was George Crawford, the chairman of Columbia Gas and Electric Company.
Ooh, sounds like cha-ching.
Yeah, he was a utilities magnate. That's how you know he was cha-ching, because he's described as a magnate.
Yeah, if you ever meet a guy that's a magnate, get that guy's number.
Or as Lil Wayne would say, maganat. Or oh no, that might have been Jay-Z who said maganat. Okay,
Stupid ass Jay-Z can't even read his shit. He's out here making deals with the NFL. What the fuck? Could you believe that motherfucker? That fucking motherfucker is richer than all of us. He was dealing crack on the corner of Brooklyn.
On the corner of Brooklyn. On the corner of United States and Florida.
On the corner of Brooklyn and Manhattan.
All right, so he was the son of... So this dude, George Crawford, he was the son of farmers who hustled and opened the first natural gas corporation ever.
Wow.
And that shit popped off, so obviously he was ballin'. At age 66, George married Annie Warmack, who was the 27-year-old daughter of Robert Warmack, who was the founder of one of the biggest shoe companies in the world at that time, called the International Shoe Company.
Wow, interesting. So he's 66, she's 26.
27.
But she's got her own family money.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. So fun fact.
What the hell is she doing marrying a 66-year-old then?
I'm saying. Fun fact. You'll like this one. The International Shoe Company was a defendant in a huge landmark Supreme Court case, which established that corporations involved in interstate commerce are subject to the jurisdiction of state courts if it does business within that state.
Oh, wow.
So this was like landmark case, has been the precedent for like several cases after that. Anyway, so George was, I'm sure, happy to marry into a wealthy family since he was new money. And also, I'm sure Annie was a baddie too, because even though George was old as fuck, he probably could have married anyone.
That's true.
Maybe especially because he was old as fuck, because 3 years after Sonny was born, he died and left his estate reportedly worth over $100 million in 1935.
Wow.
To his widow, he left his money to his widow, Annie, and to little baby Sonny.
Damn.
So she was already balling, and all she did,
yeah.
she put in like 5 years work with this dude, and she got like $100 million.
She got it on with him once.
I forgot to look up how much 100 million in 1935 is today, but it's got to be like billions, like, I don't know, 40 billion or some shit.
Let's see.
Okay.
Ooh, May.
How much is it?
1.8 billion.
Shit.
That's fucking crazy.
And she had her own money too, so it was like, yeah. Wow. Anyway. So Sunny earned her nickname because she had a sunny little personality and everyone loved her.
Aw.
She was super popular.
Fuck yeah, she was super rich.
Right. In 1957, when Sunny was 25, she married Alfred Edward Friedrich Vincenz Martin Maria Prince von Augsburg.
Jesus.
Alfred's family were Austrian nobility, but they had long since run out of money. So they had the name and the titles, but they weren't balling anymore.
That's interesting.
That's what you do if you're American, because you're never going to have that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the only way to enter that world, because they're always going to look at you, especially back then. They're always going to look down on you. Like, guess what, bitch?
Yeah.
So anyway,
you could buy anything.
I love this because this is the motherfucking American dream if I've ever heard it. Sunny is the granddaughter of poor farmers who bought herself into Austrian nobility by marrying this named motherfucker. So
yeah.
So I stand. So Alfred,
that motherfucker had Prince somewhere in his names? Like that was one of his names?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I think that was one of his titles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because he passes on that title to their kids. So Alfred and Sunny had 2 kids. Princess Annie Laurie von Augsburg, born in 1958, and Prince Alexander George Augsburg, he dropped the von, born in 1959. So they got busy making rich-ass babies back to back with the quickness. But Sunny and Alfred divorced in 1965. At the time of her divorce, Sunny was reportedly worth over $75 million.
Oh.
That's just by herself, because remember, her mom still has her part of the inheritance. Alfred died in 1992 after being in a coma for 9 years following a car accident in Austria.
Wow.
Which I think is crazy because coincidentally, I just started a podcast called Room 20. Have you heard about this? It's new.
No.
It's about this unidentified dude who's been in a coma in San Diego for like 20 years.
Like currently?
Yeah, currently.
Wow.
It's from the LA Times and it's super interesting. I'm a few episodes deep. It's pretty good.
I bet. Somebody just recommended something to me that I started listening to, and I don't even know the name of it, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up. Sorry. And my phone's way over there.
I thought you looked.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't go over there.
All right, so back to our girl, Sunny. She wasted no fucking time, and a year after her divorce, she married Claus von Bülow, who was the former personal assistant to richest man in the world, John Paul Getty.
Wow.
Word on the street is that they were lovers before Sunny's divorce from Alfred because she was... Yeah.
Come on. She got married 1 year after.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Yeah.
Well, she was tired of Alfred fucking every socialite he'd ever met. So she was like, all right, me too.
Yeah.
And how dare you fuck around on her? She's the one with the money. Like,
it's fucking these men with their egos, dude. He's got that title and no money, so he has to feel like a man somehow.
yeah, that's true.
You know, it's such bullshit.
Yeah. Mildred Pierce.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Klaus. I like that
No.
name too.
Yeah, me too. Seems like a
Klaus.
Nazi kind of.
Oh, you're not wrong. Okay. Okay. Klaus was born in Copenhagen, Denmark on August 11th, 1926. Happy belated. Klaus's dad was a playwright named Sven Borberg, but this piece of shit Sven was a Nazi collaborator
Okay.
during the German occupation of Denmark. So he had to like straight up go out of his way to fucking be a Nazi too. It wasn't even like they were in Germany or anything, you know?
That's rude. That's just rude.
So after Klaus graduated from Cambridge Law, he dropped his Nazi-ass father's last name and used his mom Joanna von Bülow's last name instead. Plus, von Bülow is just a swaggier name than Borberg anyway. Also, Grandpa von Bülow had been something that sounds like Attorney General and like later president of one of the Danish Houses of Parliament. And they also come from nobility, so all in all, it sounds like it was a good look to change to von Bülow. Anyway, so Klaus was doing his law thing before getting his gig with J.P. Getty. Klaus learned a lot about the oil business from JP, and JP was really impressed by Klaus, not just for learning about the industry, but because he was good-natured and he could really take the pressure of being treated like shit sometimes. Because I think the term whipping boy, I saw that written a few times.
Oh.
But I think that might often be the case when you work for such a powerful person.
Right, like Puff Daddy's fucking assistants and shit. Like the Devil Wears Prada and shit.
Yeah. Exactly. It's exactly
Yeah.
that. What was Puff Daddy's Farnsworth?
Yeah.
Bentley?
Bentley?
Yeah. Oh, it should have been Farnsworth von Bentley.
Yeah.
That just sounds better. Okay.
Yeah, he fucked up.
Yeah, so it seems like it just like kind of comes with the territory, and I think that JP respected him for just being able to take it. So Klaus worked for JP for quite a while, but eventually left in 1968, 2 years after his marriage to Sunny, and 1 year after the birth of their daughter, Cosima von Bülow.
Just left her?
No, he left the Getty. He quit his job.
Okay.
He quit his job with Jean-Paul Getty, which he later said was like the biggest mistake of his life.
Oh, wow.
So I also want to point out that a number of weird rumors followed Klaus for most of his life. The weirdest one was that he was a necrophiliac.
That's quite the rumor. Wow. How does that get started even?
All right.
Like, what?
I'll tell you right now. I read this really fantastic article in Vanity Fair by Dominic Dunn, which was great because he actually ran in those circles, you know. Did you already do Dominique Dunn? Or no? Okay, never mind.
No.
Okay, that's going to be a good episode. Okay, anyway, so Dominic actually ran in those circles, so this was an interesting article. But in it, Klaus says that it was a sort of inside joke between him and the owner of Fiat, who was his homie, and that...
Jesus.
And, after it was like a joke between them, but it spread and it just kind of stuck.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Also, there was a rumor that he'd killed his mother.
What the fuck?
Because after she died, he didn't report it and he stayed with her body in her apartment for several days. So, like, literally...
and maybe he is a
necrophiliac. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, literally the plot of Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Have you ever seen a movie with necrophilia in it? I don't think I have. That's one of the last taboos for me.
No, I don't think I have either.
There's not much stuff that movies won't do. Well, no, there is still stuff that is like too controversial, but I've never seen anything with necrophilia.
Because who is that story for? You know? Who's like, gotta go see that necrophilia movie?
No, it's true, yeah. But I mean, just the way you do it. What about Lolita, you know? Like,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's about pedophilia, but...
Yeah.
Gotta go see this necrophiliac movie. Can't wait.
We're waiting in line at midnight and shit.
Start a rumor that motherfucker is necrophiliac.
Okay, so Everyone should read that Vanity Fair article.
Yeah, sounds good.
It has so much tea in it, not just about this story, but of hella other society people. And I got so many leads for future episodes out of it.
Awesome.
And there were so many times while I was reading it where my jaw dropped. I was shook, I tell you.
That's my favorite.
Okay, cut to 1979. So Klaus and Sunny have been married for a minute, over 13 years at that point. And their marriage was on the rocks. They both made no secret about the fact that they could possibly get divorced.
How long have they been married? Sorry.
13 years.
Okay.
Although Klaus and even Sunny's kids will tell you that it was a happy marriage, at least for a while. It was just like towards the end that it was getting a little rocky there.
Okay.
And it's like, these society people don't like getting divorced,
Right.
So they could like be living separate lives or whatever, but like...
They're not going to get divorced.
Right. On December 26th, 1979. I always feel like when you hear an exact date, you know some shit.
I know. I'm like...
So on December 26th, 1979, the family was all together at their Newport, Rhode Island mansion when Sunny was found unresponsive and was rushed to the hospital where she slipped into a coma. The doctors were able to save her, and she woke up a few days later with no recollection of anything that happened in the day or two leading up to the coma. But why did she slip into a coma? It turns out our girl Sunny had hypoglycemia, aka low blood sugar. So they were like, yo, you need to take care of yourself. Don't go too long without eating. Stay away from sweets. Just be healthy. This was a scare, but hopefully you'll take it as a warning and like fix yourself. So Sunny goes home and everything seems cool until April of next year, 1980, when they had to rush her to the hospital again because again she was incoherent and disoriented.
Okay.
This time, the doctors know what to check for, and it's confirmed that she has reactive hypoglycemia. So when she eats, particularly something with a lot of sugar in it, her blood sugar rises, and then her pancreas is like, fuck, someone should do something, and it produces a shit ton of insulin to try to control that shit and bring her blood sugar down. But the problem is that it brings it down too much, and that puts her at risk of falling into a coma or obviously even dying.
Wow.
So again, the doctors warn her ass. They're like, you really need to take care of yourself, go on a diet, stay away from sweets, and quit drinking.
This motherfucker's poisoning her or something?
Mm-mm.
No?
All right. Cut to December 21st of the same year, 1980. The family is back in Newport, Rhode Island. By the way, go look at a pic of their house when you get a chance.
No. It's badass.
It's got a name. It's called, that's how you know.
Yeah, like the spelling mansion and shit.
It's called Clarendon Court. That shit is fucking
wow.
Ballin'. That shit, okay, it's like the opulence is insane.
Yeah, fuck.
Okay.
It looks like a fucking mansion in like Florence or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it has, it was for sale recently. So Variety, I think it was Variety. It had pictures of like the inside and shit. Oh, I was dying. It's actually is the house from the Grace Kelly movie High Society.
Of course.
So, all right. So it's nighttime, and once again, 48-year-old Sunny isn't normal. She acts confused and uncoordinated. The family is like, maybe you should go to bed, get some rest. So her 21-year-old son, Alex, carries her up to her bedroom and puts her to sleep. But then in the morning, they find her unconscious and unresponsive on the floor of her bathroom right underneath the toilet with her nightgown gathered around her waist. Her mouth was covered in blood. They rush her to the hospital, but this time she doesn't wake up. Her temperature was 81 degrees Fahrenheit and her heartbeat was 35 beats per minute. So this is the worst case scenario. She had suffered brain damage, fell into a coma, and remained in a persistent vegetative state.
Oh, no.
So...
Is her mom still alive at this point?
Yeah, her mom is still alive.
Okay.
So the marriage of Sunny and Klaus, as we know, was in trouble for at least a year, but almost certainly for quite some time before that. It had just been over the course of the last year or so when the rumblings of divorce had gotten louder. So when Sunny fell into this last coma, her two older kids, Annie and Alex, they started to have a bad feeling about Klaus. The hospital did some tests and determined that Sunny had barbiturates in her system, and her blood sugar was mad low, yo. Also, her insulin level was crazy high. It was 216, and normal is anywhere between 35 and 145.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Also, they seemed to think that the insulin in her system was not produced by her own body. So it had to have been administered either by her or someone else. Meanwhile, just 4 weeks after Sunny fell into the coma, Klaus was vacationing on a yacht with his mistress, soap opera star Alexandra Isles.
Fucking Menendez brothers. Can you just hold it together for like a year and a half?
I'm saying it would
come
be completely
on.
worth it.
Yeah.
So didn't the Menendez boys buy like 2 Porsches and like
Yeah,
6
like-
Rolexes?
Like their dad died. Like they called 911 to report that they had seen their dad dead. And
Yeah.
then the next day they bought like Rolexes.
Right. They're on the phone with 911. They're like, hold on, let me put you on hold. Hello, Bloomingdale's?
Yeah, I'm gonna need 3 Rolexes. Thank you so much.
So, all right. So anyway, so eventually the kids use their connections. I mean, we got to remember this is special because these people are ridiculously rich, you know?
Yeah,
It's-
this is like if this happened to like Steve Jobs or like fucking
Jeff
Microsoft.
Bezos or Bill Gates. Yeah. This
Bill
is
Gates,
like,
there you go.
this is wealth that we can't imagine. So this, everything that happens is not normal. The way
Right.
like the way this investigation is going to happen. Okay, so listen. So eventually the kids use their connections to ask someone for help. And that someone just happened to be a former New York district attorney. And they bring his ass to Rhode Island to represent them and also to investigate their stepdad and to see what he thinks.
Wow.
They discover
boss.
it's a super boss move, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they discover that Klaus had been telling everyone all around town that Sunny had a drinking problem, but their attorney / XDA, Richard Q is his name. Richard says that she absolutely did not. Also, they find out that Klaus's mistress, Alexandra, had recently given him an ultimatum. She was like, either get a divorce or we're done. You've got 6 months.
Okay.
But if he asked for a divorce, he'd lose access to Sunny's almost $100 million.
Of course, because she had, well, her inheritance is her inheritance.
Right.
But she had her money before they got married.
Uh-huh.
So how much was she accumulating during the marriage? You know, it was just like interest.
And Alexandra Isles, the mistress, she comes from money too. Like she went to all the same schools as Sunny, and they knew each other and everything. Like, so she's not like divorce your wife, get her money, and come. It's not like that. She's just like, if we're gonna be together, we're gonna fucking be together type thing.
Right. But this fool's worried about his bag.
Yeah. So on the other hand, upon Sunny's death, Klaus stood to inherit around $14 million.
Okay.
I think to his name, he had somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1 million at that point, because Sunny had set up a trust for him where he was getting paid, he was getting a yearly payout of like 120 grand from the trust. So, so obviously he doesn't really have any expenses, so that, you know, he's pocketing that.
Awesome.
Right. So he's pocketing that 120 grand. So he personally has a net worth of about $1 million. But with that lifestyle, $1 million is nothing.
Nothing.
It's nothing.
You think Clarendon House or whatever the fuck is gonna be running with your measly $1 million, pops?
Right. All right. And also, the way they found Sunny's body was just really off. Like, why does she have a bloody lip? But there wasn't blood anywhere else in the bathroom. How was her head under the toilet? Like, presumably, if she fell, she would have hit her head on the toilet, and we would see either blood on it from her mouth or a corresponding injury to her head or face. Why was her nightgown pulled up?
Yeah, that's
right?
scary.
This is Richard Q, the lawyer. He hypothesized that if Sunny's body was dragged into that position, then the nightgown could have been pulled up during the move. Like when you're dragging someone and it moves their clothes.
Yeah.
The kids also mention that at some point they'd seen Klaus with a little black kind of toiletry bag full of pills and vials. So Alex goes to Clarendon Court with a private investigator and blacksmith to try to find the black bag. Sure enough, in Klaus's locked closet, they found the black bag. Remember that this isn't the police. These are private citizens conducting a search.
Right.
They didn't document finding the bag with photos or dust it for prints or anything like that.
Oh my God.
In the bag were pills, needles, and a small vial labeled insulin.
Of course.
So Richard and the family sent the bag and its contents for analysis, not to the police, but to their own family doctor. The lab found insulin on a used needle in the bag. First of all, I wasn't aware that family practice physicians had access to a forensics lab, but go off, I guess. Anyway, the doctor tells the family that they need to go to the police or that he will. All these coincidences seem a little fishy to Richard too, so he finally contacts a detective in the police department, and eventually prosecutors took the evidence to the grand jury. The von Bülow's personal maid, Maria, testified to seeing the insulin vial prior to the second coma.
Wow.
And she remembers it specifically because she was like, why is this here? Neither of them are diabetic.
Oh, and your maid knows where everything is at your house.
Yep.
She will know like the slightest change.
And she seemed to be Sunny's close confidant and kept like all of her secrets and shit. Like when Sunny got a facelift, she was like, you better promise not to fucking tell anybody. And like, and Maria didn't even tell the cops. Like when they asked her like, oh, what kind of medications did she take over the last few years, whatever. She didn't bring up the facelift and whatever.
My mom told me, I guess we could leave this in. It's like, how could my dad hear this? So my mom used to be like a maid, and one time like years ago when the wife, like they had only been married a few years, her and the husband, she lost her engagement ring, and it was like a huge diamond.
No.
And she told my mom, she was like, Lenore, like I lost my ring. She had to tell her because if she was like, if you find it, please don't tell him. Like I'm not telling him, and like I don't know what I'm gonna do, like basically. So then my mom fucking found it, like cleaning like behind a couch or something, and she was like, "Oh, Vivian, like look, I found your ring," and it was so fucking thrilled. She gave my mom like I think like 10 G's.
Hey,
like she was like, "This is what the insurance payout would have been."
Oh yeah.
So she gave it to my mom. My mom gave that shit for my dad.
That's what's up.
I'm probably still getting birthday presents.
That's what's up. I was gonna say, and the end of that story is like, and that's how we bought our second home, and that's the lake house.
No, hell no. No, but your maid, anyways, moral of that story is your maid knows everything about you, where everything is. She knows if anything is missing or anything like that.
So for sure, as soon as she saw that shit, like it obviously stuck out in her mind.
She's going to remember it.
Right. And like when it happened, she knew
exactly.
It was for sure. Like before the second coma, she was like the insulin thing.
For sure.
So, neither of them are diabetic. But Alex told detectives that he had never specifically seen a vial labeled insulin. And this is kind of interesting because he could have easily thrown Klaus under the bus here, since he and his sister already so seriously suspected his involvement.
Yeah, they are his kids, or they're her kids with...
They're her kids with her previous husband.
They only had one kid?
Yeah, Cosima.
Okay.
Maria also testified that leading up to the 1979 incident, the first coma, Sunny had been ill, and Maria got a feeling that something weird was going on and tried to enter the von Bülow's bedroom, but Klaus didn't want her to come in. So she kind of like, she went about her day, but she was kind of like, enough is enough, and she went in anyway.
Yeah.
And she found Sunny in bed in really bad shape, and she was unconscious and gasping for breath. And Klaus was just lying in bed next to her. But Klaus claims that's not entirely accurate because Sunny had been like getting up out of bed throughout the day to use the bathroom from time to time and shit. So Maria when she finds them, that's when they go into motion, and like they call the ambulance, and Sunny ends up in the hospital the first time.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So if it wasn't for her...
Yeah, she would have died that time.
Right. So the police test the contents of the black bag for themselves and find that it has a bunch of barbiturates and confirm that there was insulin on a needle. Klaus didn't know that the black bag had been taken, so they execute a warrant and ask him if there's any reason that his wife would take insulin. He says, no way. Meanwhile, they are searching the house and find his closet unlocked with the black box where he usually kept that little black bag open. And sometime during the time Klaus is talking to the detectives, he excuses himself and he comes back a few minutes later. Later, the cops notice that he'd closed the black box and locked the door in the closet to where...
Wow.
Yeah. That's so... Don't do that. You know?
You think... How do you think you're going to get away with this?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
So the grand jury returned an indictment on 2 counts of attempted murder in July 1981. I mean, obviously, there's enough there to let's see where this goes, you know? Let's try him.
Yeah.
And that's when the shit hit the fan. The press got a hold of the story and it blew the fuck up. It had everything. Money, power, intrigue, almost murder. It was lit. And people all across the country ate the shit up. Klaus was all up in the press, denouncing the allegations and proclaiming his innocence. His only supporter in the family was his 15-year-old daughter with Sonny, Cosima, who was, as a result, disinherited by Sonny's mother, costing Cosima a reported $25 million.
Oh my God.
I feel for her because what are you supposed to do?
Me too. I feel for her a lot, actually, the most, because that's her mom and dad. Like, imagine, like, you're grieving your mother's death and then they're telling you...
She's alive. Sonny's alive. She's in a coma.
Oh, that's right. She's not dead.
Yeah. But I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, she's gone.
Right. But so you're dealing with that and then they're like, oh, your dad did it on top of all that shit.
Yeah. You have no choice but to give your dad the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because it seemed like he was very loving with her, with all of the kids, really. Like, the older kids, they never had a problem with him.
Yeah.
And he was having affairs with other women, but this is some high society shit, you know? This is not like...
They all do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Klaus went to trial in 1982 in what would become Rhode Island's first trial to allow a TV camera in the courtroom. And as you can imagine, this was an extremely high-profile case. But the biggest problem here is that it's basically entirely circumstantial. We don't have any witnesses, no substantial proof that it was Klaus who did this at all, or if anyone did it, or if she did it to herself, or anything. But Klaus certainly has a motive.
Right.
And the circumstances, as we know, are odd, but that's it. But we also know that in this country, to be convicted of a crime, you have to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So in a lot of ways, Klaus is going into this not in as terrible shape as you would imagine. Klaus's defense strategy was that a jealous public wanted him to be prosecuted for the crime because they were jealous of his wealth, and that was the only reason that he was there. That there was a, quote, resentment toward people who have achieved wealth, which I'm not a lawyer, but is that the move, my guy? Like,
that's how you're going to win this jury over.
Yeah. And like, despite the fact that the trial was taking place in a super wealthy enclave in Rhode Island, the jury was made up of just like regular people.
Of course.
Anyway,
all the wealthy people had excuses to say,
it's true.
We can't be on this jury.
Oh, we're summering in Saint Tropez.
Who will watch my diamonds?
So anyway, the second part of the defense strategy was to make it seem like all of this was a smear campaign on behalf of Sonny's older children to try to deny Klaus his part of the inheritance. That's more.
That's a stretch.
That's better.
It's better.
That's better than the public is just jealous of me. Anyway, so Klaus was also claiming that Sonny had a really bad alcohol and drug problem, which may have led to her coma.
That's interesting that they keep trying to push that because, like, wouldn't we have known that already? Like, at this point in her life?
Yeah,
that would have came up once or twice. Maybe her first marriage, maybe college.
Well, we don't have... Her first husband can't talk because he's in a coma, remember?
Oh, that's right.
And
she
like,
got in the car accident.
Yeah, her maid isn't talking because she's loyal as fuck.
Yeah, because that's that bitch I do like.
So I mean, I don't. It's possible, you know. And
Yeah,
this
maybe.
this is the crowd that has, you know, a couple martinis at lunch. And,
Yeah. Bitch, so do we.
So I know.
But we ain't that crowd. I fucking wish.
So anyway, what about the insulin though?
Yeah.
The defense went with the notion that Sunny was injecting herself with insulin because it was part of a new trend to try to lose weight.
What? What the fuck?
But fun fact, most people gain weight on insulin.
Yeah, I
so-
was gonna say.
But you know, these fads, they're never like
yeah,
they
just
have
happen.
they have very little to do with reality anyway.
Trim spa, baby.
Yeah, right. Another fun fact that I learned in Dominic Dunn's article that was never mentioned at trial, but back when Klaus was practicing law, the firm where he worked handled the first known case of murder by insulin injection.
Ooh.
I don't understand why this didn't come up. Well, I guess it's like, it's...
But actually, I would just like...
throw it out there.
Yeah, like, I mean, I wouldn't know that. Like, somebody who didn't know that previously, that could cause a death, or somebody who's not, like, in the medical field, like, I didn't know that would make her die.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he knew, you know?
Yeah.
Or seemingly he knew.
Anyway, so Alex, the oldest son, he was the first to testify, and he was spilling tea left and right.
Yes.
He said that Klaus had told him, first of all, this is a weird conversation to have with your stepson, but Klaus had told him that after Cosima was born that Sunny wouldn't or couldn't have sex with him anymore.
What the fuck?
And that's what led him to seek the company of other women. Then Maria, the maid, she came through and talked about how Klaus stood by and did nothing during the first coma. That she asked him for help and that he was like, there's nothing we can do. And like, that's when she called the ambulance.
Oh, wow.
Or she was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah, I can already picture him. He was like, it's too late. There's nothing we can do. We've lost her.
Starts counting his dollar bills.
Wiping his tears with
going
the money.
going through her purse and shit. He's like, there's nothing we can do now.
Putting on diamonds.
Help me sort these necklaces.
So anyway, Maria and Alex both testified that around this time was when they first saw that black bag.
Okay.
Then homegirl Alexandra Isles, Klaus's mistress, took the stand. Remember that she's a soap opera actress, so you know this testimony was about to be good as fuck.
Was she wearing a veil and shit?
She should have been. Oh. Anyway, so Alexandra was like, yeah, low-key, he might have done it.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, I'm not sure. So basically, she was unable to get on the stand and say like, no way, that's not the man I know. There's no way he could have. That's what you would expect from someone.
Right.
Like if you or I were ever accused of a crime, that's what people would say. No one would be like,
maybe.
Right.
Wow.
So they asked her if they were still together after Sunny fell into her coma and after Klaus was accused, and she said yes.
Oh, wow.
And when they asked her how and why, she said that when she first heard the accusations, she was like that. She thought that this is nonsense. There's no way, you know? But she said now that she'd heard a lot of the evidence, she said she doesn't feel that way anymore.
Wow.
So anyway, by that point they weren't together, but when everything like first went down, like they were still, because they remember they went on vacation and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, the defense presented their own medical experts who said that Sunny's coma was not a result of administered insulin, and they also cast doubt on the black bag evidence because, as we know, it was found and handled by the family and not by the cops.
Yeah.
Which I totally get. It's like when
you could just throw that everywhere.
Right. It's like when a piece of evidence
gets tampered with.
Yeah. A lot of the time, like those, they don't even, neither side presents that in court because like there's just
it's just kind of a washout.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's an easy way for the other party to get an appeal.
Right.
If you happen to lose.
Mm-hmm. So either the judge will just straight up deem it inadmissible or just like no one will use it.
Right.
So this argument by the defense totally makes sense to me. But the prosecution argued that if they wanted to plant evidence or something like that, they wouldn't have any witnesses around when they found the bag. But Alex found it alongside an investigator and a blacksmith. The defense also found some experts to say that Sunny was seriously mentally ill and was self-medicating with drugs and alcohol.
Oh, interesting.
All in all, the trial lasted 3 months, and finally, at the end, in May 1982, Claus von Bülow was found guilty on both counts of attempted murder, and Claus was sentenced to 30 years.
Wow.
But
Damn, that's a big sentence.
for attempted murder, but it's 2
Yeah.
counts because he tried twice.
Oh,
so
that's true,
He
I
tried in
guess.
79 and again in 80.
Yeah.
So 15 years each, I guess.
Yeah.
But throughout the verdict and sentencing, the whole trial, really, Claus didn't react at all. He was cold and emotionless. After the trial, author Truman Capote came forward to say that Sunny taught him how to inject drugs, claiming that she injected amphetamines into herself on and off for years.
Oh, shit.
He also claimed that
Plot twist.
he knew that Sunny was a for real alcoholic, and that she put him on to how to mix other recreational drugs like crushing Demerol or Quaaludes and mixing them with speed and some water.
Oh, shit.
So our homegirl Sunny might have been on Molly water. Like she might have loved that shit.
Oh, wow.
So after his conviction, Claus was released on $1 million bail pending his appeal. And this is when the Glenn Close movie Reversal of Fortune starts.
Okay.
Jeremy Irons plays...
This is when it starts?
Yeah. Jeremy Irons plays Klaus. And he actually won the 1990 Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal.
Damn, I can't believe I've never heard of this movie.
I'm
I just
saying.
saw the movie,
The poster?
the poster. Yeah, Glenn Close looks fucking bad.
So Jeremy Irons won the Academy Award. Meanwhile, our girl Glenn still doesn't have one.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But that's gossip for another day. Okay, so Klaus is fucked. And the only way he even has a chance of not spending the next 30 years in prison, and he was 56 years old at the time.
Yeah, so maybe dying probably.
Right. So he barely has a chance, and however impossible it may seem, he has to mount a decent defense. So Klaus asks Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz to take up his case.
Wow.
It's Alan Dershowitz's book that the movie Reversal of Fortune is based on. Alan would later become famous nationally for being a part of O.J. Simpson's Dream Team. He's played by the guy who played Charlotte from Sex and the City's second husband, Harry, in The People vs. O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
In Reversal of Fortune, he's played by Ron Silver, who isn't super famous, but you might have seen him in a few things. Anyway, Alan Dershowitz, who's been problematic for a minute, was recently in the news because, according to 2 alleged victims of his friend and former client Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey forced them to have sex with Alan.
What?
Mm-hmm. To
I didn't know that.
To repay him for defending him previously.
Ooh, holy shit.
Mhm. Obviously, Alan vehemently denies this.
Obviously.
Also, Alan is currently a member of Harvey Weinstein's defense team
Oh.
and previously defended Mike Tyson and Patty Hearst, among others. But back in 1982, Alan was known for 2 things: becoming the youngest law professor in Harvard's history in 1967 at the age of 28.
Jesus. What the hell? When did he graduate law school?
And successfully defending porn actor and star of Deep Throat, Harry Reams, from the obscenity charge he got after appearing in the movie. So Alan, like most of America, had been following the story, and in his opinion, he felt that Klaus was guilty. But Klaus came to him and said, "Look, this isn't justice. My children bought what they deemed to be justice. They hired expensive attorneys, former prosecutors, and private investigators. And they essentially carried on an investigation on their own and presented whatever they felt like to the police. That shit isn't right." And Alan was like, "You know what? You might have a case." And he agreed to take it on. So Alan doesn't work at a fancy law firm or anything. He's a professor. So really, the only thing he can do to mount a defense is to enlist the help of his students to work on the case. At first, you might think that this sucks, like when you get your hair cut or your nails done at a beauty school, which Steph and I have done before.
And that did suck.
It sucked. Okay, so if you're like me, you'd be like, "I don't want these fucking kids working on my case." But one of the students was Jim Cramer, current host of Mad Money.
Wow.
And at the time, he had just received his BA and graduated cum laude from Harvard undergrad, where he was president and editor-in-chief of the Harvard Crimson. And another one of the students was brilliant lawyer, a.k.a. the Sheriff of Wall Street, a.k.a. the 54th Governor of New York, ladies' man, and future subject of one of our episodes, Elliot Spitzer.
That's crazy.
So,
could you imagine? That's the group of students you got?
Yeah, I know. And that's just like two of them.
Yeah.
So Elliot Spitzer, like Anthony Weiner, could have been president right now as we speak if he would have just kept his dick in his pants, or at least gotten his pussy for free.
God, who is the other guy from when we were in high school? That young senator who had an affair while his wife was dying
in a coma?
of cancer?
John Edwards.
John Edwards. That's
Yeah.
another one where I think like you would have been president probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had the national name recognition because he ran with John Kerry. He was the VP
Right.
candidate. Okay, so anyway, like I said, those are just like the two with the biggest name recognition today. But I'm sure the whole team of students were great. You know,
Of course, yeah.
Felicity Huffman plays one of them in the movie.
Hell yeah.
Which made me laugh out loud. Like, bitch, you're fucking with Harvard now? Sure, Jan. So they only had 10 months to present their appeal, because I think in Rhode Island you have like a year to file or something, or like otherwise you can't.
Yeah.
So Alan divided his students into teams, and each team took a piece of evidence. Like one team worked on the insulin situation, another team worked on the black bag, and so on. Anyway, so remember when Sunny fell into the coma and they tested her blood and her insulin was 216?
Right.
So Alan's team found out that the lab had done 4 insulin tests on her blood and received 4 different results ranging from 0 to 350.
Oh, wow.
So the 216 was cherry-picked by the lab and later by the prosecution, and obviously you can't do that. That's not how science works.
Right.
Next, you know how they found a needle with insulin on it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you inject something into the skin and pull the needle out, the needle should essentially be wiped clean by the skin on the way out.
Oh.
But if you just dip it in a vial of liquid, you'll get traces of the liquid on the needle.
Ooh, this is some how to make a murderer ass shit right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but Alan and the team sent a bunch of needles with a bunch of different substances to the lab just to verify that their results were correct. And a lot of them falsely tested positive for insulin.
Wow.
So basically, you got to throw all the lab evidence out.
Yeah.
Also, we've got to throw out the black bag with the insulin and drugs in it, because Alan argued that after Alex took it, which he had a right to do, I guess, it's his house too. But after Alex took it and handed it over to the cops, they should have gotten a warrant to look inside of it. But they never,
that's true.
Right? But they never did. So they performed an illegal search. So what case does the prosecution have at this point? Not much. Alan presented his case to the Rhode Island Supreme Court, and almost 1 year later, they finally announced their ruling, siding with Klaus and overturning his conviction.
That's crazy.
Cut to almost a year later, and Klaus's new trial begins in April 1985. And now, a case that was almost purely circumstantial the first time around has even less usable evidence.
Right. That's part of the reason when that was so shocking, his sentence, because it was like all based on the circumstantial evidence and hearsay. Well, not hearsay, they were testifying, but
it was a lot of circumstantial evidence.
It was. Yeah. So all this time, has he been in jail then?
No, he out.
No? Oh, he was out
because he paid the bail.
He paid bail. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Like, could you imagine being in jail, like getting a conviction, waiting for your appeal, and then your appeal gets granted?
Yeah.
That must feel crazy. Like, you probably, like, at that point have kind of made your peace with the sentence, right?
I guess it depends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have hope, right?
Yeah.
But, it's like, could change everything.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, your appeal gets granted, and
you got your start all over.
And you don't want to get your hopes up, because it could...
That's true.
You could easily just get your hopes up and just end up in the same place.
That's true.
Anyway, so they have much less usable evidence, but they still had Alexandra Isles, Klaus's former mistress. This time, Alexandra, who she flew in the day she was going to testify because Sunny's kids had to beg her to come to the United States. She split after the first trial because she got all this unwanted attention.
I'm sure.
She's like this society girl who could have easily, just like never in her life been
involved in this kind of scandal and shit.
Right. So she took off. Word on the street is she was hiding out at this fat farm. That's how Dominic Dunn described it, a fat farm in Europe.
Shit.
And she was like, I'm not coming back. But then the kids, they had a press conference and they were like, please, please, please come back. She ended up coming back. So she testified and she said that after the first coma, Klaus called her on the phone and told her that he laid next to Sunny in bed for hours, watching her get worse and worse and waiting for her to die, but couldn't go through with it and eventually called the doctor.
Jesus.
So anyway, despite this damning evidence, on June 10th, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty and Claus von Bülow was a free man.
That's fucking crazy.
Throughout all this, of course, Sunny von Bülow remained in a persistent vegetative state at a fancy nursing home in New York City. She, the way they described like her day-to-day stuff, first of all, is very expensive. Like she had security. She had like people who came in to like keep putting her fancy like face serums on her and like do her hair like twice a week the way she would have wanted. It was all like,
holy shit.
It's what you imagine like she would have wanted, I guess.
Yeah, but that's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to live like that. You guys heard it here first if something happens to me. But anyway. And Klaus remained married to her despite having a new girlfriend named Andrea Reynolds, who is quite the fucking character according to Dominic Dunn. You guys have to read this article. She may or may not have killed her second husband.
What the fuck?
The article is so fucking good. Andrea is played by Christine Baranski in the movie, which is perfect. Anyway, so Klaus is still married to Sunny, so he could still inherit his share of her vast fortune.
Interesting.
So Sunny's kids filed a $56 million civil suit alleging that Klaus attempted to murder their mother. Of course, the burden of proof for a civil suit is much lower than for a criminal trial, so they had a really good case.
Yeah.
Which forced Klaus to settle out of court rather than to be forced to testify in a trial.
Wow.
He agreed to divorce Sunny, renounce any claims to her estate, and leave the country in exchange for Cosima to be re-inherited.
Holy shit. That's nice.
That's nice. So Cosima got her bag in the end.
Oh, good. Good, because I feel really bad for her.
She's in a really tough place. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she,
if anyone deserves the money,
I'm saying. And she was she never went to see her mom after 1981. So like right after she got admitted to the hospital, she never went to see her mom again.
Yeah, I mean that's hard.
And she became estranged from her older brother and sister. And
oh no,
it was kind of a mess. I think that now they're good, but it'll
never
just
be
like
the same.
Yeah, I mean, like she got dealt like the worst. And she was young, just I can't imagine. I read that when she graduated from high school, she was the only person. She went to this like obviously like fancy private school. She was the only person who didn't have any family there.
Oh my god!
But that all of her classmates rallied around her when they called her name and they clapped louder for her than for anybody else.
Aw, I'm gonna cry. That's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Sunny von Bülow died of cardiopulmonary arrest on December 6, 2008 at 76 years old. She had been in a coma for 28 years.
Oh my god, May.
Mm-hmm. Claus von Bülow died this year on May 25th, 2019 at age 92 at his home in London.
Interesting.
Happy belated death. Fun fact. Time magazine has a story on their site right now called Top 10 Comas, and Sunny is number 1.
That's so wild, May. 28 years?
Yeah. Don't you think this is kind of a sleazy article for Time magazine? Like, who do they think
what
they
the
are?
Fuck?
The drama
club? Top 10 comas. Let's drop one that says top 10 car accidents. Top 10 apology notes.
Another really fun fact. You know that song Sunny Came Home?
No.
She says days go by, I don't know why. You never heard
this 90s ass song?
Yes! Sunny
oh my
Came
god.
Home. That song is about Sunny von Bülow.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I haven't heard that song in like at least 20 years, but I was like, that song is about Sunny. That shit slaps.
Sean Colvin.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the video makes me just. I know how the song sounds just from seeing
Seeing the video. Yeah,
the
for
still
sure.
frame of that 90s ass video.
Anyway, that's it. That's the story of Sunny and Claus von Bülow.
That's fucking crazy, man. I love that one.
I love this one too. I'm telling you, like, I kept reading more and more about it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's wild.
So I can recommend the movie Reversal of Fortune and also that Vanity Fair article and the song Sunny Came Home.
Yes. That's awesome. Well, that was this week's episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Drama Club Pod and on the website dramaclubpod.com.
On the hotline, 505-539-0556. Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll talk to you on Monday.
Bye.
However, whatever with your helmet.